let's go, Paul.
Where's the baseball team?
Oh, yeah. Jay.
Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like if at each transition you had to do some.
Still here.
Did you get that for the event, or do you have it?
They had some stuff at Target for Pride, and I was like, look at this. It's so cute.
This is the thing.
It's already bought. But I'm gonna say.
It's Hartford Marathon
You
sponsored.
guys were looking at last night.
Yeah, but I don't know why they
I was impressed how well run it was.
They're not gonna do
Like everything
No,
was
it's
smooth.
just-
It was like
Perfect. Second.
something people.
these guys.
So back to so Billy's first.
Billy's first.
That's crazy, man.
I said the same thing when I saw it. Yeah, up in there too. Okay, we're ready to roll. Are we ready to roll, everybody?
Let's do it.
Everybody on? Okay, let's do it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Town Council meeting, Monday, August the 9th. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
William Dietzick,
Present.
Tom Lombardi,
Here.
James Morelli,
Here.
Christopher Palmieri,
Here.
Christopher Poulos,
Here.
Paul Chaplinsky,
Here.
Michael Del Santo,
Present.
Valerie DiPaolo,
Here?
Victoria Triano.
I am here. Could we all stand for the prayer followed by the flag salute, please?
Heavenly Father, give us grace tonight to understand that the impact we make upon this community is not just for today, but for the generations who will follow us. Help us to do what is right, and if need be, courageous. We commit ourselves, our decisions, and the town of Southington under your care. Amen.
Amen. Let us do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. May I have a motion for the minutes approval?
I'll make a motion.
Madam Chair.
I'll second.
Okay. Made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good.
Madam Chair, I need to
And one
abstain.
abstention, is that right? Val, I'm sorry, I should have
Thank you.
brought it up before. Val abstains. Okay, very good. Councilmatic communication, I'm going to turn it over to Attorney Bill Dietzick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to get ahead of this issue. I think everyone knows what's coming is that, on August 5th, the governor signed Executive Order 13A. So I'm speaking as a town councilor, not an attorney, not the town attorney, not the town manager. Really what got me thinking about this is I have a kid starting school in August, and you want to know what environment is your kid going to start school in. Are they going to be wearing a mask? Is it going to be remote? Anything like that. So I did my own research. I have some pretty good experience reading executive orders, and I hope everyone obliges me just for 2 minutes and kind of just steer any sort of discussion and give some context to what we may do as a body. I don't have any of the answers, but I just do want to talk about it. So like I said, August 5th, 2021, Governor Lamont signs Executive Order 13A. 13A essentially defers to municipal leaders the option of requiring masks indoor places within respective towns and cities for all individuals, regardless of vaccination status. Okay, so what does that mean? This means that now municipal leaders, whether that's town manager, mayor, or town council, I don't have the answer for that, has the option of moving beyond the minimum requirements and statewide policy on masks implemented by the governor in May. So, again, it's important to understand we cannot be less restrictive than what's currently in place. However, it allows the municipality to be more restrictive. So as of today, I want to say right now, as of today, what does the statewide policy say? Okay, so there's no confusion on what the statewide policy says. So the statewide policy is as follows. Unvaccinated people must wear masks while indoor public places. Everyone must wear masks regardless of vaccination status while inside certain settings such as healthcare facilities, facilities housing vulnerable populations, public and private transit. There's a number of them. That wouldn't likely not impact anything we would decide. Masks are not required outdoors. Businesses, private property owners, and state and local government offices may require masks to be worn by everyone inside of their own facility. So what's that mean? That means private businesses have the option to enforce a mask policy. There's nothing we can do regarding that. So really the impact of Executive Order 13A is that individuals, regardless of their vaccination status, and that is the key distinction, may wear masks, may be forced to wear masks indoors if a municipality requires it. So that's the scope of Executive Order 13A. And I know West Hartford superintendent recently just ordered masks be worn in school. So I know, and I am happy to be corrected. I know there's people in this dais that have much more educational background and probably have more access to emails than I have. But my understanding from the governor's press releases is that for this upcoming school year, the Department of Education and Connecticut State Department of Education are in the process of reviewing and, if necessary, updating state policies regarding masks for schools. So anyone who's a concerned parent like myself, what's going to happen? The answer is we don't know. I don't know who's going to make the call. It may be the new superintendent. It may be a governing body here. It may be guidance from the state level. So I just want the public to understand exactly what's going on in front of us. And our next town council meeting is September 13th. So likely there'll probably be lawsuits. There'll be other municipal decisions. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's an eternity, especially when we're dealing with something like this. So I do appreciate you guys letting me talk about this. I just want to say, if we're going to have a conversation about this, let's focus on things we actually can control, which is being more restrictive than the current mandates in place, not less restrictive, and we may not have any say over sort of any imposition on the educational system.
Thank you, Bill. I would just add that we must, during this time of unknowns, I just want to say that Southington is considered a yellow community, not a red community, which is good because it gives us time to talk about this kind of stuff that we're talking about now. But regardless of where we are on the spectrum, I want to encourage folks to be mindful and to take care of themselves. We respect our local businesses, the owners of businesses who make certain requirements to do business or to eat or to shop there. That's their place of responsibility. So until we get this all worked out, everybody stay safe, and certainly if you have not been vaccinated and you have a compromised immune system, please stay safe and take care of yourself and your family and your neighbors, because in fact in this situation we are our neighbors' keepers. So I just wanted to add that, and I wanted to thank Bill for giving us just kind of a framework to work through. And we'll know more in the days and the weeks to come, but we are on top of it, and we're taking it very, very seriously. And Chris, you had a comment.
I want to thank Mr. Dietzick for clarification on the executive order. They don't give you any kind of guidance on that when you're studying to be a teacher. I can empathize. I have a son who's not vaccinated, enjoyed not missing one day of school last year because of, I think the wisdom of our community and people, agree or disagree on certain actions. Our young kids were kept in school and safe for the year. September 13th, you said, is our next meeting? And so that's a ways out. And I know that as Chris, Mr. Palmieri and I will be back in schools. Our kids will be back in schools. And so, Madam Chair, I'd like to request, and I don't know if I do that through you or through Amelia in Mark's absence, an update sooner than later from our health director to get the numbers, the data. So we got to be careful when we watch the news because it's mostly anecdotal. But I'd like to get a solid health update. And I think, not just for us, it's beyond my purview to ask for this, but I think our Board of Education members need a similar type of update so that we make the best decisions that we can make to keep our community running.
Sure.
And in particular, our schools.
Yeah, very
So
good.
I'd like to request that sooner
If
than
it comes
later.
to us, even for the schools, we're still not sure if it's going to come to us or to the town manager or to the superintendent.
Regardless of who it goes to, I think we got to be in front of it. We got to be proactive. We can't react to a bunch of people coming to public comment we should have a good plan
Yep.
before a public comment to
Certainly
say,
agree.
we've done our research and this is how we've made our decisions. We should welcome the public comment, but
Sure.
we shouldn't be
And
caught off guard.
so, we will probably, I would imagine, start getting memos and also updates. You know, Shane has I think it's still going on, a Friday meeting with, is it, do you know, Amelia, if he's still meeting with the department heads as a status update?
I don't believe he is
I
with
think-
department heads, but he might be meeting with
With
the state
Mark.
Yeah.
and Mark.
Mark,
yeah.
I know he meets with the state, and then he does contact Mark. But we will certainly be in the loop. We'll make sure that we are in the loop, and those of us that can, I'm sure will be allowed to plug into those updates again. And so we'll go with it from there, okay?
Sure,
But
thank you.
absolutely. I
If they're
completely-
meeting Friday, then next week would be a great time for that conversation,
Yeah.
maybe.
We will
We'll see. We
certainly
shall
ask
see.
Shane about it.
Okay.
And I'll be in touch with everybody.
Thank you.
Anything I learn, I'll let you.
Thank you.
sure, pass it on. Yep, Paul?
Madam Chair. Thank you. I have 3 items, Madam Chair, to report during
Okay.
this. Actually, 4 items. The first is for the town attorney today. And I'd like to ask if we can have a follow-up on an open action that we have a violation on Meriden Avenue. There's been some recent construction activity and filling activity, and I know that there's been some cited violations that continue on there. But the last time I spoke with the town attorney, it's been referred to, I think, to the assistant town attorney. So if we can maybe just get an update on that the next time,
Sure.
even if it's offline afterwards. I'm just continuing to hear about activity there from neighbors complaining about excessive fill coming on site, a lot of vehicles for construction that are working on the site across the street. So that would be one request that I had.
Be great.
I'd like to thank and recognize a few people. The first is our sewer plant superintendent, Kiari Williams, for a couple weeks ago, making some time to give me a tour of the new sewer plant, which was really, really eye-opening. What a great job, everybody who was involved in that, the sewer committee and all of the people in the sewer department and the staff and the consultants and the construction folks who were working there. Just a really great job. I had done it, 2 years ago prior to the upgrade, and now seeing it done, and what a difference it is. It's always been a great, clean facility, so it's always been well-run. But certainly the big issue that everybody talks about is the odor, and it was, really enlightening to go there and see the new operations, how digital it is now, how they can monitor things remotely, and then also that we now have a plant that's primarily capped and not giving off the odors that it was doing. So thank you to the head of the sewer department there. I wanted to give a shout out to and a thank you from us in the community to Father May at St. Dominic's Church. Victoria and I had an opportunity to attend service there a week ago, this past Saturday, correct? Yes.
That's correct.
And we had issued a town council proclamation to Father May for his, he's given 35 years in the priesthood, 13 years here in Southington at St. Dominic's Church, and he's just been a wonderful person to be a part of at St. Dominic's. He's a great leader, so empathetic. He's a great listening ear, and he's going to be sorely missed. He has done a lot in the community. One of the things he's most well known for is he was instrumental in starting up the local chapter of the Knights of Columbus here. So he's had a lot of different activities in Southington. So it was my great pleasure to be with you, Madam Chair, and to be there for the presentation of the proclamation to Father May, who retired as of the service after that service that Sunday. And that Sunday was also a beautiful service. Seeing him into retirement. So thank you to Father May. And the last item, Madam Chair, I wanted to recognize one of our youth baseball teams in town. And I see one of the coaches here, Jay Salerno, who's coaching and actively involved in a lot of the activities in town related to sports and the kids. This team is our Southington North 11U All-Star team, so primarily the 11th the 11-year-old all-star team from Southington North. They accomplished both being District 5 champions, but also Section 2 champions as they started to head towards, the area-type championships. And they made it all the way to the state championship this year, which was a nice, you don't always get to go to the state championship, but we had one, our girls softball team this year, and now the 11U team made it to the the baseball championship. Unfortunately, they fell short in the state championship against, it was Fairfield American, right? But certainly a valiant effort, and looks like there's going to be another great class coming up of baseball players through the town. I also wanted to just, recognize all of the parents who volunteer, the parent coaches who volunteer, like Jay Salerno. Head coach Todd Pelletier couldn't be here, and one of the assistant coaches, Bill Zielinski, also couldn't be there. Congrats to all of them and all of the other parents who are involved in youth activities, helping with our youth in town. All of these things are important in fostering an inclusive community. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Very good.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam
Thank
Chair,
you.
I have something.
Go ahead, Mike.
Just briefly, a constituent contacted myself and Councilman Pullis a few weeks ago with regards to the Prospect West Street intersection. This is a neighbor, someone who lives close by, so we're actually meeting with that neighbor tomorrow. He said he has some ideas he wants to float by us, so we're meeting, Mr. Pullis, Mr. Chaplinsky, and I are meeting with the chief, with the police chief tomorrow, with this neighbor to discuss some of the ideas he may have to try to curb some of the accidents that have been going on over there. And as we know, at the last meeting I brought it up that the state is looking into, DOT is looking into it as well. So hopefully by our next meeting, I'll have some information to provide to the council on how this meeting went, and hopefully some more information from the state of Connecticut. So I want to thank Mr. Poulos, actually responded back by email to the gentleman who lives by Mr. Cutler, and so we're meeting with him tomorrow at 5 o'clock, so more to follow on that issue. So, thank you, Madam Chair, that's it
Sure,
for
of
me.
course. Anybody else?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Val?
Thank you. Jay, first, congratulations. So that'll be the 12U next year, right? Okay, so next year maybe. They'll get
One sport at a time for Jay. I mean, his son's into
I
everything.
know. Yeah, your dad would be proud. You're carrying on the tradition, Jay. So, Madam Chair, I just had a couple things in Southington that were going on that I just wanted to shout out. Assistant Fire Chief Eric Heath and firefighter Dan Coleman had secured some federal funding for the sprinkler system at the north, I think it's the north station. And I spoke with Chief Paul, and that's going to cover probably 90% of the cost of that sprinkler system and installing it. So he did also say that they are continuing to look for federal funding. So I just think that's great. It really helps, for the fire department, obviously, and for our town.
Community, yeah.
Yeah, for the community, just to keep that north side of town with a good building there. And the other project I thought was really interesting was the Bread for Life project with the high school with the beehives. So they have a master beekeeper, Roger Dietz, who does a great job. He's helping to run the program along with high school student Ariana Day. And what it does is it has the clients from Bread for Life work with the Southington High School students with the beehives, and then they'll be producing the honey and selling the honey. So in the fall, they'll have the harvest for the honey. They'll be able to get a lot more people involved with it, a lot more students and clients from Bread for Life, and just really get this thing off the ground. So I just thought that's really a great project. So
It
just a
is.
shout out
Yeah.
to them for doing that.
Great, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you. It seems so long ago now, but on July 16th, I had the pleasure with Councilman Poulos, the Chair Triano, and Councilman Del Santo to witness the unveiling of our new John DeMello Southington Veterans Office. So, again, it seems so long ago, but it has been since our last meeting.
Yeah.
To say that it was a humbling event was an understatement. Not only was his family member present, but I've never actually seen someone get inducted into any branch of the military, but we got to see John DeMello Sr.'s son get inducted into the United States Space Force. So he was inducted right there at the ceremony, and then, of course, we unveiled the plaque dedicating the office to him. We had the Commissioner for Veterans Affairs come down from the state, so that shows the impact that Mr. DeMello had on our town and our community. And again, can't thank him enough for all the work he did for all our veterans. So it's very fitting that the office is now named after him. So any resident, when you're in Town Hall, you can stop by right behind the old council chambers, and there's a plaque there dedicating that office to him. So just want to,
Thanks. Yeah, that was a moving experience.
absolutely.
Great. Thank you. Yes, Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to briefly thank Town Manager Shota, since he's not here tonight, because he doesn't like recognition. So, back in April, I received a call from a resident who had some issues with Eversource, and they weren't getting a response or for whatever reason. But I reached out to the town manager and said, is there anything you could do? And Mark was able to coordinate with the liaison that the town has. And the resident just called me last week to thank me for the follow-up, and Eversource did alleviate the issue. So thank you to town manager and whoever else in town staff was involved with that. Secondly, I wanted to thank and wish back our assistant town attorney, Alex Riccardone. He returned a couple of weeks ago from active duty in the Air Force. He was in Cuba for about 7 months. So thank you to him for his service, and we look forward to working with him. And also thank you to Attorney Paul Bedard, who filled in over the last 7 months and has done a great job for the town. So that's all I had this evening, Madam Chair.
Very
Thank you.
good. Anybody else?
Chair,
Go ahead.
A couple of quick things.
Okay.
First of all, I was fortunate enough to be asked to volunteer to park cars at the movie theater for the Mills Foundation. And I had a very fun evening with a bunch of people running around with flashlights and telling cars where to go. While I was there, I talked to quite a few people. It was a really cheerful, upbeat event. And one of the people that was there was complaining about the shrubbery that's growing underneath the movie screen. If you're up in the front of the area, there's some poison sumac that's infringing on the screen. So I wasn't sure if that was a Public Works or Sewer Department issue, but if we could get somebody to knock down a few of those sumac bushes, the
Mike's already on
movie
it.
public would be appreciative.
Mike is
Madam
on
Chair,
it.
I could send Gabe an email later tonight or
It's
tomorrow
only
morning.
like three
That
or
would be
four
terrific.
that are,
Thank
you can
you.
see they're in
Sure.
a row and
course.
they're at the bottom of the screen.
That's great.
And then I also was contacted by a resident who was complaining about the keypad at the dog park. I wasn't even aware that it was disabled, but apparently there was a water issue there, and the keypad was disabled. And since that time that it's been disabled, kids have found that it's easy to get in there and play around, and apparently there's been some, I don't know, conflict. There's been some unhappy dog owners with children playing in the dog park, and so I was asked, when will they get turned back on? And I said, I didn't know it was off, but I'll ask.
Yeah, and they have a handle on this. They're supposed to be finishing up on it very soon. They've done some tremendous renovations on it. It's going to be very, very nice. Change the entrance and
The
a lot of
A-frame.
things.
The A-frame that we've
Yeah,
gotten via email,
yeah,
the wooden.
yeah. Is there anybody else? Because I do have just a couple of things. I want to mention a few people that I just want to recognize them tonight for their work within our community. I want to recognize Brian Goralski. I want to just mention him tonight and recognize his many, many years of service on the Board of Education as chairman and always standing strong for our students. And I also want to mention, of course, Mary DeCroach, who single-handedly almost turned that old building that was set for becoming demolished into our SOCA building, our arts building, where creativity just abounds. On behalf of the entire council and this town, I just want to extend our thoughts and our prayers for both of them. I felt that it was important for these two people to be recognized from the dais and let them know that we are with them and that we appreciate their sacrifice for this community, and we stand with them, and that our thoughts and prayers are with them. So is that okay with everyone on the council? It's kind of out of the ordinary, but I did want to make mention of two very important people to all of us. So I'm done with that. All right. That didn't sound good, but I want to make sure I got it in. Okay, report of special committees, Apple Harvest Festival.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to just review the minutes from our last meeting, and then I also want to just give some general Apple Harvest updates. So first, the Apple Harvest Committee met on Wednesday, July 14th, went over some of the booths and vendors and sponsorship activity that's going on. The committee did come to a conclusion on a theme, and the theme is going to be a return to core traditions.
Oh, that's cute.
It's a play on
And
words.
the gala will be held on September 23rd at the AquaTurf. So if any council members would like to join Chris and I'm assuming Chris will be in attendance that night, please let us know. It is a fun night. We do honor the hostesses, and so let us know if interested. Now, an update on where we're at. I did speak to Dave LaPrey this morning just to get a pinpointed numbers of booths and everything. So we're less than 2 months away, believe it or not. We have 61 booth vendors. The upper area, the Riccio Way area is totally full. The town green is almost full. So for any vendors out there, go to the website, southington.org/AHF for the contact information. There's 345 arts and crafts booths, and there's still room for more. And another item is volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers in all aspects of the festival. Whether somebody is willing to volunteer for a few hours or they want to work both weekends, we could accommodate them. And I'll be a little selfish here. I chair the finance team, and we have about 6 members in the past, and I'd like to get between 8 and 9 this year. I work closely with Sue Zoney and Ed Pocock from the Board of Finance. So if anyone's interested in joining us, please let me know on that. The national band Vertical Horizon will be playing on Saturday, October 9th. And the parade is on Sunday, October 3rd. And at our last meeting, we also had an issue come up with the sponsorship coordinator. She did receive an inquiry from a medical marijuana company out of Newington, but the committee declines the sponsorship opportunity because we didn't feel it was a good fit. So the next meeting on that is, the next meeting for the Apple Harvest Committee will be in person at the town hall, and that will be Wednesday, August 11th. And Chris, I don't know if there's any other, and let me just say one more thing. The website on the town page is very informative. It has everything I just said, has all the links to sponsorships, volunteers, and contact information. So, Chris, anything else that you wanted to throw in there?
Just, especially as it gets closer, sponsorships, we can always definitely use more sponsors. We have a little over $10,000 raised for sponsors so far. It's not too late, so Melissa Erickson, Kokoza, who's the sponsor coordinator, is the best contact for that. Just a little change, Tom, a little bit more progressive. They're not hostesses anymore. They're now ambassadors. So
Ambassadors.
we have 15 ambassadors that are high school students.
Yep. And juniors and seniors.
Juniors
now, which
and
we
seniors,
switched-
yeah.
Which we switched that a few years ago.
And then lastly, the thing that's probably the most most important is for the Grand Marshal for the parade this year, we decided to honor healthcare workers. So they will be honored in the parade rather than an individual. We know the impact that the healthcare workers have made for our community. So specifically healthcare workers, but certainly all first responders as well will be honored in the parade.
That's great. That's great.
Any questions on the Apple Harvest?
Tom, what was the date of the gala?
The gala is September 23rd, which I believe is a Thursday. It typically is. Let me just confirm that that's a Thursday. Yes, Thursday, September 23rd.
Is it at night?
It's at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Open space.
Madam Chair, thank you. I got 4 items for open space. The first is a quick update on open space barns. We have 2 barns in town that are on town property that need roof renovations. We started our analysis looking at what the cost might be by going out to bid on the Grosky barn on the corner of East Street. And we got a quote back on that, and town staff had an idea after discussion amongst Public Works to go to our Easy IQ bidding system to try to see if we get costs down, which we were able to do significantly. We then had the leaf barn looked at from the Easy IQ system. And we've prioritized the leaf barn first because the leaf barn has some active roofs, and that barn is one of the main facilities that runs the facility with respect to water and gas and electricity. And we have some active leaks in there that need to be addressed. The Grosky barn will come later in the year, but we're going to work on the leaf barn sooner than later. And with that, what I'd like to do, Madam Chair, if it's okay, I'd like to add an agenda item at the bottom of our meeting in the appropriate section for the approval of a bid contract for the leaf barn roof.
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Well, wait a minute, just so I get clarification. So you're adding so that we have the bid and we're ready to
Correct.
approve that bid, is that correct?
So we have a bid. It went through the Open Space Committee approval process through town staff, and town staff has referred it to the town manager, and we want to now take that bid and have it added to today's agenda for approval.
And have action on that bid?
Correct.
Did we get a copy of that?
Yeah.
Is it in our packet?
It was sent to us via email?
Yeah.
Did you guys
Oh.
get a copy of it in the,
You
it
know,
was,
I-
I don't think it has a,
I'm sorry, I don't think, it wasn't in my packet. So it was in the email, I'm sorry.
Chris, do you recall if it was in the email?
Separate. It was a
today.
separate
Today's
email.
I believe today.
It was a separate
No,
email.
from
Oh, it's
last week.
today?
That's
Yesterday's
the one
email.
where we went back and forth. with
Correct,
town
and
staff.
that had sent the bid along to everybody.
Can you,
$15,900.
can you just, so I saw the question Tom had on the email, just the one for the leaf roof replacement is the bid we have in front of us, the $15,845. The Grosky, there were 2 bids. They were much higher. We're not dealing with those right now.
Correct. What we did was, we realized that the vendor that we were working with was a higher price on the Grosky barn.
Yep.
And they had told us that it was gonna be a similar price for the leaf barn. So we put the brakes on that activity. We went with the Easy IQ system to try to get a lower price, which we were able to do for the leaf barn. And now we're gonna have the Easy IQ done on the Grosky barn as well, to try to get the lower price
To
there
get
as
the
well.
price
Correct.
lower.
Chris?
And if I could just weigh in there too, Paul.
Yep.
In addition to that, the committee, Open Space Committee, we also know that the priority is higher for the leaf barn roof because it's an active barn versus the Grosky
Grosky
isn't.
is-
So
okay.
that allows more time to do it more thoroughly, but leaf is almost to a critical point with
Right.
all the operations there.
Right, okay.
Okay, so a motion has been made that we add action on this to new business, or
Old
would you old
business.
business it?
C.
Old business, see.
Yeah, we would add C, old business. Is that
Correct.
all right with everybody? I have a second on that?
Second, Madam
Yeah,
Chair,
thank you,
yes.
Mike. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so it's on for item C under old business.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I have 3 more updates on open space. The first is we're active in the cutting season, the haying season, one of the cuts. So people will probably see some of the fields, the open space fields currently being actively hayed. So look for that. We have a list of properties and who's managing them that have been discussed at the open space meeting that we continue to follow. Another item, I wanted to thank Chris Palmieri for his work with town staff for working for the last couple of months with a couple different vendors on getting solar panels at one of the buildings at the Leaf facility. One of the barns there does have a new roof, and was evaluated for structural integrity. And we've had a few different people come out to look at what we could do there for solar panels to help offset some of the costs that are going on at the site, as well as some investments. And Chris had worked diligently with staff and Mark Ramsey at the LEAF program to secure a contract there. So I think, Chris, when are we talking about installation on that?
Very soon, and the other benefit too, just to share with everyone, is as part of the solar installation, they're gonna upgrade all the electrical there,
Oh.
which is obviously town property, so it really is a win-win at no cost
That's
to
amazing.
the town, no cost to Mark. What happens is it'll lower
Savings.
the amount of utility bill that he
Yeah,
pays,
that's
yeah.
wonderful. And Chris, you have been very faithful in that, in Mark's operation up there, trying to get grants all along, and boy, and you do it behind the scenes, nobody knows that you're doing it. But I did want to acknowledge that, you've been a
Thank
very
you.
hard worker for the LEAF
I
project.
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And maybe one day, Councilman Palmieri can bring in some vegetables from that garden that he keeps promoting. After COVID, maybe, right?
Anyway, well, thank you.
Yes, thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Chris.
Paul,
And,
is there anything else?
No, but just to clarify and just confirm one more time, there is no expense to the taxpayer for the solar panels.
Absolutely
It
correct.
is, there's no cost to the town for that. And then the last item is August 29th is the Harvest Hoedown, is a farm-to-table event at the LEAF program. So for anybody who's interested, there's a wonderful outdoor event, plenty of space outside. We're hoping for a nice sunny day. Again, Sunday, August 29th. You can go to the LEAF website to sign up. It is going to feature a band, Mammoth Jack,
Yeah.
which I think is a big pull,
Bessie's.
Yeah.
right? So that's really good. So it's going to be an outside concert, and there's going to be a farm to table. Smoking with Chris is going to be doing some of the catering and the cooking, with the vegetables, of course, from the farm. And there's going to be a bunch of activities with the animals,
Yep.
some learnings, and some games and some fun there as well. So
I'm
looking
ready.
forward
I
to
got my
that.
tickets already.
Buy your
I'm ready.
tickets.
I'm
I
ready.
have
Thank
mine
you, Madam
too.
Chair.
Yeah, there we go. We're gonna have a good time. Great. Anybody else? Any other report on special committees? Does anybody else have any report?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, sorry, I did want to clarify one comment I made on Apple Harvest. And
Okay, go ahead.
I just got a text from Dave LaPre. There's 34 arts and crafts vendors, not 345.
I was amazed, and there was
Dave-
still room.
Dave emailed me the wrong number, and he just clarified it for me.
I think that was important.
Wow.
Thank you,
Yes.
Tom. for-
Downtown area was that big.
For clarifying it a little bit. That's great, thank you. Listen, we're ready to move, right? Item 5, Town Manager's Report and Communication. We appreciate Amelia being here today and giving the report from the Board of Finance.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairwoman Triano. So basically, in July, we have the Board of Finance has their meeting at the end of the month. We call it our cleanup meeting because basically it's the last meeting that addresses old year, June 30th. So a majority of the items on here pertain to transfers and appropriations required, mostly transfers, required to finish up business in the old year. With the exception, I'm just going to kind of point out some of the larger ones. We did, in fact, the Board of Finance did approve an item for the town of Southington had been awarded a federal state DOT grant for $5.1 million for construction costs to extend the rails to trails, 2 miles from Lazy Lane to Plainville Town Line. Of that amount, 4.8 is reimbursable to the town, so we have to spend it first and then get reimbursed. And 345,000 of it will be paid directly by DOT. So at that meeting, we appropriated the funds with revenue to match. So that's maybe the largest item that we have on the agenda.
Isn't that good?
Besides that, like I said, there's various transfers. If anybody has any questions on any of them specifically, I'd be more than happy to review. And then toward the end of the meeting, since it is our cleanup meeting for the old year, we address carry forwards. We did 2 of them separately. As you all know, the Board of Education has non-lapsing accounts that they've requested over the last couple of years. So they had requested carry forward of $28,226 for their non-lapsing account of 2019. $1,663,779 for their non-lapsing account of 2020, And the month before, they had come before us indicating that they would be requesting a non-lapsing amount for 2021, but the dollar amount has not yet been determined. They will come before the Board of Finance next month's meeting in order to provide us with the dollar amount plus the listing of items that they'll be spending the funds on. I believe you had gotten a listing either at your May or June meeting for the 2019 and 2020 non-lapsing items.
Right.
So basically, when the account's set up, it should roll over until it's completed. But we just do this more like a bookkeeping item so that it has to be approved so that we can add it to next year's budget.
Yes.
And
I have a quick question.
Marion.
Would you be kind of, you said the carryover, I was trying to write it down. The carryover for the non-lapsing BOE was 1,100,000.
Okay, well, there's two of them right now that we're carrying forward. One is 2019, which is 28,226, and the other one is for 2020, and it's 1,663,779.
So 1,663,779 for 2020.
2020 and
And-
2021, it's a max of 2%, which will be approximately 2 million, but I believe it'll come in lower than that because they've been spending the funds. Obviously, they have to have them available in order to carry them forward.
So for that 1.66 million from the BOE, can you explain just, a lot of times the residents might not know what a non-lapsing account is. How did the money get there? Why is there $1.6 million available for spend?
Sure. Obviously, because of the pandemic, they didn't utilize their entire budget for 2020, so they requested that it be carried forward for them to handle certain specific projects. And I can definitely send you a copy if everybody would like an update on. I haven't received anything other than that final information that you had received, but I'd be more than happy to distribute that to you guys as well.
So the money that doesn't get spent from this past year's budget they're allowed to carry over up to a certain amount, which they're doing, 1.6 million for use for certain projects this
But
year.
that was for fiscal year 2020.
For 2020,
There's
correct.
still going to be one, because we're finishing off
For
2021.
And do we have an estimate of what 2021 is, roughly?
I believe it's going to be around 1.5, 1.6 million.
So we're carrying over 1.6 from 2020 and another about 1.5 for 2021 of unspent money from the previous budgets that they can use in future budgets. Good.
They'll come before us with a
Perfect.
list.
Thank you for explaining.
And then we'll decide.
And then that also gets reviewed. It gets paid through the town side.
Correct.
So they approve whatever the projects they need to spend it on, then they'll come before the Board of Finance.
Board
And
of
then
Finance.
it'll come to you as well, showing what the costs will be. And then when it's being spent, it's being reviewed by my office as well as the town manager's office.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
Sure.
And Amelia, you had mentioned we received a list of the projects. That's the list that we had spoken about.
Correct.
So that's,
And I'd be more than happy to send out the list again if someone has misplaced it or.
no,
I just have a quick question. Are those, that list of projects, are those budgeted in the budget, the education budget for this upcoming year? So then we wouldn't have to use budgeted money to complete those projects? Or are they
They're separate.
projects that have not been budgeted for previously?
Correct. They're projects that
They're on
haven't,
top money. Yep.
right,
Okay, they're not in the current budget?
no,
Thank you.
Because we have to approve them, Chris.
yes,
Okay, just wanted to check.
absolutely. Then we had, in addition to those two items, we had a carry-forward list for the general government of approximately $997,000. So those are basically what those carry-forward projects would be, are commitments or contracts that were signed, that were initiated in 2021 that weren't completed. So we're already committed to those items, so that's why we're carrying the funds over in order to pay for them. A lot of times, projects are either midway or we're waiting for contractors to come in and finish the job, et cetera. So basically, they approved for the general fund, $997,000, for the sewer fund, $1,751,000, and the $1 million of that obviously was for the for, what am I trying to think of here? Doing the sewer,
Lining.
sewer pipes lining, that's what it is, I'm sorry. But since that meeting, we've actually paid almost $500,000 of that, so it'll be reduced by half. So basically what happens is, we approve the carry forwards for the amount that we have on the books at the time. If any expenditures come in, obviously they'll reduce that dollar amount so that when we actually post that information to the new year, it'll be what was approved less anything that was spent of that project. Does that kind of make sense a little bit?
And Madam Chair, just.
Yes, go ahead.
Sure.
So those funds are allocated to the project that just is not done yet.
Yes.
And we're keeping the money there and
And-
keeping it on the books for transparency, but as it gets spent and used on that project, which already started,
Yes.
we will basically deplete that.
Right,
Thank you.
correct. And then the last piece of this is, I was asked to, of course, that was right in front of my, there we go, to give a preliminary of fiscal year 21. So, and I am always preface this by saying it's just preliminary. We still have expenditures, adjustments, accruals, et cetera. But our total revenue came in at $157.2 million. Total expenses, I'm estimating at $157.8 million, which would leave us with a $600,000 shortfall. But let me explain it a little different. We had anticipated using $4.5 million of fund balance. We've actually covered 3.9 of that. Okay. Our revenue came in 2.1 million over budget, and most of it because of the town clerk fees, building fees, which were phenomenal this year. They were just crazy busy. The state grants came in a little bit higher. They came in at about $500,000 higher than we anticipated. And we had some grants that we had spent the funds last year, and now we can recognize them this year for federal. So that's how we came up with a 2.1 million. And then we had a 1.8 million of unspent expenditures making up the difference. So in essence, we had anticipated using the 4.5 when in fact we were using 600,000. Again, these are not final numbers. We're still working on it, but this is the best guesstimate I have at this point.
Great. Anybody have any questions on any of that?
So just to clarify, from a net perspective, we spent a little bit more
Right.
than we took in. However, as part of that, we were anticipating using the full 4.5, but there's 600,000 in there that we didn't use, so that's still going to be in reserves, in our reserves.
Actually, it's 600,000, yes, that we could make up. So we actually used 600,000 of fund balance.
I'm sorry.
We made up the difference of the 3.9.
We made the 3.9, yeah, correct. I had it backwards, my apologies.
Nope, not
Can I, thank you, Madam Chair. And I will approve the minutes
sure.
tonight, but I did notice that, like, what you just explained was great. And I know that there's been, Linda retired and we have new staff. Could there be a little more detail in the wording? I did, minutes as revenue versus budget was discussed. Maybe just say see attachment or see, so that the public can see at least some numbers.
Yes.
Was revenue up or down or something like that? Basically, like what you just explained would be good to have in the minutes. So if you can add them to the minutes,
Okay.
that would be great. Or if the council feels comfortable without them, then I'm okay with that as well. But
Going forward,
that would be great.
it's the first time that this person had done the minutes, and I guess that's the way she had understood it. Unfortunately, we're going to be looking for someone else she had an issue and she couldn't continue. So.
Okay. And I just want to reiterate Councilman Chaplinsky's comments there. So we were expected to use 4.5 million of fund balance, but the
Yes.
town only used
600.
600.
Yep.
Right. So,
We made up the difference in the extra revenue and
Right.
savings in the expenditure side.
okay.
So it means we have more in reserve than we anticipated,
Right.
still,
and
to the
but-
tune of 3.9.
But one thing that I'm confused about, and maybe you can help me here, we were slated to spend cash on the referendum for this building.
Mhm.
And that was, what was it, 3 million?
We were, yes, 2.9 million.
So how could we have not spent the fund balance of 2.9 million?
Well, because we have it at 2.9 million is spent. And we budgeted using the 4.5, but we didn't need to.
We budgeted a lower revenue too,
Oh, I
Tom.
got you. So we
Our
used,
revenues
we
came in
used-
above budget.
We used the operational savings
Yeah,
to
exactly.
pay cash for this building without dipping into the rainy day fund.
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you. That-
Absolutely.
That helps.
That's wonderful. Really good news.
It really
Right.
is.
Thank
The environment that we were in, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
A lot of
excellent.
numbers, really good news, but
Yeah.
I really like the Rails to Trails project, the Plainville,
Yeah.
that's good stuff.
Yes.
Really, yeah, hopefully DOT can stay on board and finish up what they need to do, because that's the final piece of the puzzle.
It
going
is
into
the-
Plainville, and it's exciting. That stuff is great.
Madam Chair, while you're here, I just want to say thank you, because oftentimes we come to you with questions outside of here. We need help on some of the financial stuff, and you're always really good to come back to us with details every single time. And I want to say thank you, for all of us, because we all, I'm sure, have done this and had questions about finances, because it's not always clear. Thank you very much for the
Anytime,
great work that you do.
anybody.
And invited.
We're
If
gonna
Mark's
move on.
watching, he's
I don't think he's watching for some reason.
Well, thank you, Amelia. We appreciate it very, very much, as Paul eloquently said. Town Attorney's Report.
Thank you,
Attorney
Madam Chair.
Bedard, it's great to have you sitting with us tonight.
Thank you. Just one item tonight within the town attorney's report, and you'll see this item is scheduled for a vote later tonight under old business. We're looking to apply for a construction grant with the State Library Board, and this would be for the proposed library construction project that's going to referendum on November 2nd of this year. As we know, the proposed project would require the appropriation of $16.9 million for the construction of a new library. The resolution being voted on tonight would authorize our town manager to apply for this construction grant. If granted, the construction grant provides up to 50% of the construction cost, not to exceed $1 million. So in this case, up to $1 million in grant money. There's no cost to the town to apply for this grant, and if awarded, the grant cannot be used to increase the library budget. So for instance, if we are awarded $1 million through this grant, it would simply offset or reduce that cost of $16.9 million. The State Library Board will basically take action on this year's grants during their November meeting later this year. Applications are due on or before September 1st. And when we vote on this tonight, Madam Chair, we would want to do that on a roll call vote.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. Any questions for the Assistant Town Attorney tonight? We've applied before for this, so I
Yeah.
think most of
Yes.
us are familiar with
Good
it.
job, Paul.
Well, thank you very much, Paul.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Before we move into public communications, I did have something I just wanted to give out some information. You know, on North Main Street, the old Ronaldo's Pizza Building and the house next to it has been an eyesore for many, 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 many months. And I just received word that the property has been sold. And so they will knock down those buildings and hopefully make a beautiful, attractive bank in that spot. So we're looking forward to that. I just wanted to let everybody know that I hadn't said it. Okay, moving on, we're going to open up public communication. We ask that you come, give your name and address, and we are here to listen. We will not probably respond to you, but we're here to listen, so. Anybody? Richard, coming up? Good. Sure, good. You know what,
Yes.
you need to do it because it'll be on our tape, Richard, and that way you'll be able to hear you, if that's okay for you.
So yeah, first of all, it's great to hear that the Farmington Canal Heritage Trail is going to be done soon. You have no idea. Me and my friends ride that every day, and it's of constant discussion. So that's great. Yeah. So this is an election.
An address, please, for our
Oh, I'm
records.
sorry,
No,
Richard
no,
Cooper, 79 Barbara Lane.
Very good.
Sorry. Yeah, so, you know, it's an election season, so I just want to start with a generic opening statement. And, you know, this to give you an idea of where I'm coming from politically when I come to these meetings. I think the idea that you can't fight City Hall is an outdated and absurd notion, and it only goes to reinforce the false narrative that you're powerless. The people have the power in America, and the most powerful weapon that we have is the pen and the paper. Don't let nasty politics turn you off if you're listening and you want to get involved. Just remember the only way to avoid criticism is by avoiding it altogether. And that's just how it is. I agonized over what I was going to say here, and I decided I'm not going to let anyone distract me from my mission anymore. I've seen enough ugly things for several lifetimes, so today I'm standing up here for what I think are beautiful things I believe in. When I go for hikes, you know, in our neighbor town, Wolcott, on the Wolcott Mountain, I see that same breathtaking view as anyone else. Or when I go to our neighbors in Meriden up in Castle Craig. I ride the Farmington Canal Heritage Trail every day. Sometimes I'll just go sit quietly by the Quinnipiac River and have a thought. This is definitely a beautiful town to live in and raise a family, start a business, you know, stuff I see on social media all the time. I agree with that totally. This town has an A+ rating when it comes to bonds and notes and all that stuff, and it's great. You guys do a great job. But you have to understand that only means so much to me when every year another person I either cared about or knew, or someone I care about was friends with, dies from either suicide or drug overdoses. And to me, each one of those deaths dwarfs any political differences or re-election campaigns. I'm not done with politics, but I'm definitely done running for any time soon, because if it involves, I'm not accusing anyone in this council of anything, by the way. No one on this council has ever done anything but show me respect. So, but you know, if it means what I've had to go through, I'm done. Someone else can do it for now. But I'll never be silenced. Maybe I took it the wrong way, but I felt like my family name was literally insulted at one point. Maybe I took it way too personally, but you know, my grandfather Cooper, he fought in World War II because he believed in the American dream, and then he proceeded to serve in occupied Japan, you know, after the atomic bomb was dropped. My other three grandparents were devoutly devoted to public service in their own right, too. My grandmother on my mother's side was greatly devoted to the Knights of Columbus in New Britain, and the Boys and Girls Club, and the Boys Town Foundation. My grandmother on my mom's side was a teacher. I digress, but the point is, you know, politics it's in my DNA, it's something I care about. So that's what drives me to come here. I believe that the American dream is having the chance to try and fail, again and again, until you can finally succeed and maximize your potential. I know that means different things to different people, but that's... Anyway. Am I over time?
That's okay, Richard. If you would just close it up, that would be great.
I look at the town budget that's proposed from 2021 and 2022, and I see 0.5% going to health and welfare, 0.6% going to human services, and not enough going to affordable housing. I showed this to a friend of mine who I'm not very good at finance at all, but I showed it to a friend of mine who's a whiz at it. I didn't even have to say anything. She said right away, "That's ridiculous. How little goes towards that." I think more could go into that. Thank you very much.
Richard, thank you very much for coming and sharing your heart with us tonight. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council? Okay, I don't see anyone coming forward, so we're going to move right on. Thank you very much, Richard, and let's move on to old business. Item A, action on the report of the Board of Finance.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
Very good. Do I have a second? Okay, Jim, seconded. All those,
Madam
is there
Chair,
any
just a-
discussion?
Yeah, just a comment.
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out, and a lot of times this goes unnoticed, on page 2, under paragraph 5, I guess you'd call it, item B, just the comments of Mr. Pocock from that Board of Finance meeting, where he commented that the town, that the fire department is returning $150,000 to the town that was budgeted for overtime.
I saw that, yeah.
That's a significant accomplishment. We've always been paying so much for overtime in our fire department, and it's a tribute to Chief Paul and his team in at that fire department. I've worked closely with the volunteer recruitment team and with the staff, and I just wanted to acknowledge what a great accomplishment that is. We've been working at that.
Very good. It is certainly so. Any other added comments or questions? Or
I have
yes?
a
Go ahead.
clarification.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fiscal year 21 information that the finance director outlined, that's going to be in the next minutes. That's correct?
It can be, or did you want me to try to edit this one?
Well, I think
If we're gonna edit it,
yeah,
I think we should edit it, Tom.
I think the information that you laid out
Should be included.
is specifically because it's a year ends.
Yep.
So I think that should be in there. So maybe we can have a revised motion to approve the minutes with the added fiscal year end
End.
information.
Fine.
I'll
Yes.
adjust my motion, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you, Mike,
Sure.
and I believe Jim was second. All right, so we have an amended motion. Are we ready to move? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the amended motion carries. Action on the library construction grant. May I have
Madam
a
Chair,
motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt that resolution.
Thank you, Val. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. There's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll move the motion. All those in favor,
Madam Chair, we'll want to take a roll
Oh,
call
it has to be,
vote.
I'm sorry, it does have to be a roll, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dedzek,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Pulis,
Yes.
Chaplinsky,
Yes.
Del Santo,
Yes.
DiPaolo,
Yes.
Triano.
Yes. Item C, the Leaf Project roof project.
Yes, Madam Chair, if it's okay, I'll read the motion into the record.
Yes, thank you.
This is related to the memorandum from the Director of Public Works, Annette Turnquist, dated August the 6th, 2021. And it is a request to award a contract in the amount of $15,845.33 to Millennium Builders of Rocky Hill. The proposal was submitted on July 2nd, 2021, and that is for the repair of the roof at the Leaf Barn. So I'll make a motion to approve that, Madam Chair.
And do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
Chris is going to second it. Any more discussion on this motion?
I think just a clarification as well. The town manager did have this money budgeted in his allocated
Correct.
roof money.
Repair bond, yep.
Roof repair money.
That's
so-
correct.
That's correct. Yep. Okay, so what I'd like to do is also have a voice vote on this as well, Kath.
Dedzek,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Pulis,
Yes.
Chaplinsky,
Yes.
Del Santo,
Yes.
DiPaolo,
Yes.
Triano.
Yes, that's That's unanimous, that's great. Moving on to new business, we have two appointments to the ethics alternate positions. One is a Republican and one is a Democrat. We will be reappointing Brian Zaccarino to the Republican slot, I would assume.
And we'd like to put forward the name of Ed Malchuk
Oh, Ed Malchuk,
of
okay.
65 Skyview Drive, please.
Okay, very good.
And if I could, I'd also like to thank Bob Casano for his
Years.
many
Years.
years of service.
Yes. We sat together on the council way back when
Rammer to the stars.
Methuselah was around.
It's old lake compounds. I remember Bob was big spearheaded to keep lake compounds open. That was
Yeah.
great, yeah.
Okay, so we have two names. We have Zaccarino and
Zaccanino.
Zaccanino and Ed Malchuk. Therefore, I believe we're okay. Are we all unified in appointing these individuals? So let it be so that we are agreed in appointing these two individuals as alternates to the Ethics Board. We thank them for taking on the chores ahead of them. So that is the end of our business this evening. I would look for an
Motion to
adjournment
adjourn.
motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I didn't think so. Good night, everybody.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I know you worked hard for that.
Yes, thank you.